Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. I asked you guys on Twitter and Insta stories last week what you wanted to see for a book related video this week, and you guys voted on a bookshelf tour. So instead of doing like a voiceover kind of slow scroll on all my bookshelf stuff, I'm gonna kind of do this vlog style just because I feel like that's what I want to do. So that's what we're going to do. I technically have 3 bookshelves. So this is the one that you guys see behind my videos all the time. And then I've got one that serves as the background for my BS review channel that I run with my husband. And then I also have a bookshelf out in my living room that's kind of like a display living room storage thing. So I'm going to show you all of those and what's on them. Now I will tell you that I don't organize my bookshelves in any particular way. It's just kind of aesthetic or what fits where. And I do try to keep some series together and stuff like that. But I don't have like alphabetized or rainbow or author or anything like that. So it's just kind of a hodgepodge. But I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into what's on my bookshelves. This is my main bookshelf. That is technically my bookshelf. This is just for me, and it's what I use in my YouTube video background. So this is kind of an overall view of it. These are IKEA shelves. They're just these short little ones that fit in the corner. But let's start going through what's on the different shelves. So my top shelves up here, I really actually don't have that much because these don't show in the video or just the frame that I have set up for my YouTube videos. So this is kind of a work in progress kind of section, but I've got just this little like jewelry holder thing. I've got Water for Elephants. I usually have a couple more books up here, but I think I've recently rearranged a few things. And then up here I have some knickknacks. I have these character cards that are from Reign of the Fallen, which I'll show you here in a second. And then I've got some old comics. So I've got like Charlie Brown's, I've got Archie comics, which used to be my absolute favorite. I have a whole book of like my birthday that my parents gave me when I was younger. I've got a City of Dallas book because I live in Dallas, for those of you who don't know, and a couple of other knickknacks and things like that. This is also where I store my little battery thing for my little twinkle lights that you guys see. And then this is where we start getting to where you guys can see a little bit in the videos. I think my videos go up to about here typically. So I've got some books here. It's a bookshelf. That's going to be the theme. I've got Michael Crichton Timeline, which I have not read, but I love the movie. We've got Marissa Meyer Heartless, Undead Girl Gang, Agatha Christie. I've got this Doctor Who coloring book that my brother-in-law gave me for Christmas one year that I absolutely love. And I, of course, had to pair my David Tennant Funko Pop with that as well. And then over here, we've got kind of my creepy crawly shelf, which is a work in progress. I need to switch these out with some maybe more creepier books. But I've got the Infernal Devices series here by Cassandra Clare. Got all 3 of those. Only one of them is on hardcover though. And then I've got my collector's edition A Darker Shade of Magic because I absolutely love this series. So I'm hoping that they give us more collector's editions that I can buy. And then I have Vicious here by V.E. Schwab, who is the same author as Darker Shade of Magic. And I actually pre-ordered Vengeful, which is the second book in this series. So I, of course, had to get the first one so I can read that because I haven't read it yet. And then I just paired that with this little Edgar Allan Poe-esque, it's like a cookie jar, but it's creepy and delightful. I got it for Halloween one year, so now it's part of my permanent decor. Story of my life. And then moving down to the next shelf, this is what you guys see directly behind me, typically in videos, but you might not see all of the books because obviously I'm in front of it. But I've got some John Green, got Ready Player One, which I absolutely love, both of these books. And then I've got my kind of small comic collection that I'm trying to build up. So I've got all of my sagas here. I've got five or six. I thought I had 6, but I only have 5 here. So I guess I only have 5 of those volumes. I've only read the first one, which if you've been around the channel for half a second, you know I absolutely love. And if you've been around for any vlog style videos, you know that I always knock books down. So, you know, we're par for the course. But this is my comic collection. I've got Saga. I've got 2 volumes of Paper Girls. I have read the first one. I really like it. I've got a Captain Marvel. Let's just move this out of the way so I don't knock more things out. I've got a Captain Marvel here, which I definitely want to read before the movie comes out next year and get more into those. I've also got a Miss Marvel, which I'm very excited to get into, but have not yet. I've got Lumberjanes, iZombie, because I absolutely love the show, so I definitely want to read the comics. And then I've got March book 1 and 2, which I have read both of these and absolutely love them. Highly, highly recommend. And then I've got Nimona, which was a gift from a lovely friend, Jesse's Library, here on YouTube. And this is by the same, I believe, author and artist of Lumberjanes. So excited to read all those. And then, as you saw earlier, I just have a little art piece that I have here with a black cat with some bat wings that I got at a local art gallery here in Dallas. And then moving over directly next to that, we've got just a hodgepodge of some of my, what I consider very pretty spines. Well, these ones. These ones are okay. But I've got Lord of Shadows here, which I really need to pair with Lady Midnight, but I think my mom actually has Lady Midnight right now to read. I've got my Wonder Woman Funko Pop here. I've got an Alice in Wonderland. I believe this is 3 books. Maybe more. It's a bunch of them. I've only read the first one. This is the Arabian Nights stories, Tales from the Arabian Nights, and I've absolutely loved these as like a kid and growing up. So when I found this for $6 at my local half-price bookstore, had to get it. Then we've got these 3 are the Barnes & Noble leatherback editions. So I've got Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, which I think I've read all of this. I have read all of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think I've only read 1 book in this Doctor Who duology. So I've read The Silent Stars Go By, but not Touched by an Angel yet. And then one of my biggest pride and joy books is this Three Musketeers book. This is like the most money I have ever spent on a book. I spent like almost $60 on this at this little itty bitty store, little independent bookstore in Austin, Texas, and it was totally an impulse buy, but I just had to have it. It's beautiful and I love it, and yet I have not read it yet. So moving on from there, we are down to some other shelves that you can also see in my backgrounds. We'll start with this one over here. These are some of my favorite books over here, Milk and Honey and Glass Castle. Glass Castle is not for everyone, but I absolutely loved it and absolutely loved the movie adaptation. Then I've got this really cool book that I got from a local bookstore here called Rad American Women A to Z. And I just have that as kind of a pop out for backgrounds in the videos. I haven't read this one yet, but I'm really interested to see who all is in it. And then I've got Reign of the Fallen here, which I have not read yet, but that was what the character cards are paired with from that top shelf. And I've got The Hate You Give, which I absolutely love, highly recommend. Can't wait for the movie to come out. And then moving over here, we've got kind of a hodgepodge of things. Like I said, guys, I don't have the best bookshelf aesthetic. I apologize, but I hope you guys still enjoy this. Some of these are actually my husband's books. So like this one, the I Am Number 4 series, but it's only the 5th book, which I have not read. I've only read like the first book in the series, and it's okay. I've got this book by Carrie Fisher, which I think is actually the 2nd book in a series, but I got this at a library sale. I've got Wicked, I've got Red Queen, which honestly didn't love. We'll probably give away to a friend or a book sale or something like that. These I actually do need to donate because these are book 9 and 10 in the Pendragon series, which if you have not read this and you like YA weird sci-fi books, highly recommend. But these I actually had for the longest time, and the covers do not match my original covers that I have for books 1 through 8. So I do now have matching ones. You will see those in a few minutes on a different bookshelf. So I just have these hanging around and I just need to get rid of them, but they're just kind of, you know, filling up some holes on this bookshelf for the time being. Again, another one of my husband's books, something I'm not very interested in. And then I've got some, this is another book I got at a library sale. It's just the sci-fi Star Soldiers. Haven't read it yet, but I'll probably get to it eventually, maybe. And I got a graduation picture book, and I've got some other books that my parents gave me when I was a kid. It's basically like these little adventure books, but you get to put your name in it, so it's like you're actually on the adventure. It's actually really cute. If you guys ever want to see more detail of any of these books, just let me know and I'll do some maybe more in-depth videos. I've got this little sisters book that I think my sister gave me, another photo album, and that's it for that bookshelf. So moving on down to the second to last shelf on this bookshelf, we've got some James Patterson, which I don't think I've read this one yet. I have read quite a few James Patterson. I do enjoy them, but they do get a little repetitive, so I gotta take breaks from them. I've got 13th Reasons Why, which I love the book, hate the show. We've got this, I have a lot of books that I've gotten from like library sales, like half price books or library sales. This is one of those. I haven't read it yet, but it's got a cool looking snake on the cover. Then I've got this other book that's by the same author as that Pendragon series, so I of course had to pick it up at a library sale because I wanted to read it, and yet I haven't yet because it's book 2. And I don't have book 1, so I need to get that. And I've got this, also got at a library sale, Bad Girls Don't Die, haven't read it yet. I've got a copy of A Wrinkle in Time, love this series, currently in the middle of reading it. And then I've got all of these Blind Date with a Book books. So last year, one of my major goals for my just reading goals in general was to read all these Blind Date with the books and to review them because my local bookstore has them and I wanted to give them some exposure and also try this whole selecting books without knowing a whole lot about them. But I fell really hard behind on that, so I have a bunch here. So I haven't unwrapped these I've unwrapped 2 and I have read 2 and I will eventually have a video coming on that. But I've got this one that's like a coming of age, psychological something. Then I've got, oh, this is the one I'm interested in because it's a YA horror novel. That sounds, well, I'm interested in all of these, but that one sounds particularly interesting. Then I've got this like poetry, small little book. And I've got something else that's like a feminist, Latina writers. I'm guessing this is like a group of essays, but we'll see. And then I've just got this little cupcake candle thing that, again, my friend Jessie from Jessie's Library gave me a while back. And then moving right along over to this other side, again, this is a hodgepodge shelf, just like pretty much everything else. I have quite a few books that are my husband's over here. So the Zombie Survival Guidebook is my husband's, but I thought it just paired really nicely with my World War Z book, so I had to put them together. And then I've got a couple books that I got from my local bookstore. I have not read this one, but I have read this one. It was okay. Got Fates and Furies, which I've heard mixed reviews about. Don't know about that one. I've got some just other, odds and ends. I have read these a long time ago, these Mars series. I really like them, so I picked them up at a library sale. Read Vampire Academy, enjoyed it, will continue the series, so on and so forth. So moving down to the last shelf on this bookcase, again, it's kind of a placeholder shelf. So I've got a couple journals down here that I keep. This is an old, just like therapy journal I had, and then this is a journal that I use for taking notes for my BS Review channel. So anytime we're watching a TV show or a movie and I want to keep notes so I know what I want to reference doing a review, this is where I put that. And then I've got my tarot card set here. So if you don't follow me on Insta stories, you might not know, but I've been trying to get into tarot a little bit lately. I got this set as a birthday gift from my husband this year, and I absolutely love it, if I can actually get it on the right side to open. But it's this really fun set that has like a guidebook, and it's got the whole cards as well. Really cool, highly recommend. And then I also have like some colored pencils and a like altar cloth that I lay everything out on when I do it. But I also have a journal that I keep, so that's what the colored pencils and such are for. So I just keep that all here on this bottom shelf so I can grab it and take it wherever I want in the house whenever I'm wanting to do some tarot. And then this shelf I reserve exclusively for books I have already read this month. So if you want a sneak peek on what I've been reading this month, these are all the books I've completed so far in July. So they are here ready to use when I want to do my wrap up for the month. It's just easy to keep them all in one place so I don't have to round up so many books at the end of the month. So that concludes this bookshelf. So next I'm going to show you my bookshelf that is used in the back of the BS Review videos, and that is much more of a weirdly put together shelf. So let's head on over there. Okay, so here is the shelf that we use for our BS Review videos. We've also got our wall of posters here that we use as well, and we sit in front of it. But this is the bookshelf, so it's just this simple, plain little bookshelf. So let's just start at the top and make our way down. So starting at this top shelf, we've kind of got a hodgepodge of things. You don't really see that much up here in our videos, so we don't stylize this shelf quite as much. Got a couple of dust jackets for some Pendragon or Aragon. Huh. These are Pendragons. These are Aragon series books that I just keep over here for when we want to put them back on their books. And then this is my Pendragon series I was telling you guys about earlier that I had 9 and 10 in the covers that I didn't like. But these are my whole set. And they're all out of order, I'm realizing. So we got book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are the 2 that have the covers that I actually like of the ones that I'm getting rid of from the other shelf. But it's about a little kid who jumps through different worlds and realms, and it's just, you know, world-ending things. It's great. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I've got a Matthew Riley book over here. I've got some more Cassandra Clare over here. Only a few of these. I don't think I have... Oh, you know what? Where the rest of these are? They're on my husband's nightstand because he's currently reading through the series, but I think he's only on book 2 or 3. Maybe he's on book 4. I'm not sure. And then moving down, we have lots more Funko Pops. I've got a couple more comic books over here. Most of these are my husband's, all of the Marvel ones. Calvin and Hobbes is mine, but it's all ours, you know. And then we have our little Funko friends. We've got Jessica Jones, Hellboy, Daredevil, Deadpool, Hella, and Dr. Number 12, Peter Capaldi right here. And then books behind that is just kind of a weird little mix. Got some John Carter, Stephen King's It, which I absolutely love that book. Mists of Avalon, which I haven't read yet. A random Halo book we got at a library sale. And then all of the Aragon series. And then also The Lost World. Don't have Jurassic Park, but have Lost World. Moving down, we've got a few Harry Potter books. I unfortunately do not have the whole series. In fact, these are my husband's that he brought into our marriage when we got married. So we got 1 through 5 here. And for anyone wondering, book number 4 is my favorite. And then we've just got these little letters here. We actually have these for our wedding because they are initials, Brittany and Steven, which is what we named our channel BS Review after. So BS, that's what we've got it there for. It's got the double entendre of, you know, if something's bullshit or not, and also our initials. Then moving down to the next shelf, all I've got down here is some old notebooks, some folders, Sudoku puzzles, random things. I also have some old middle school yearbooks, which I've turned around because you guys don't need to know where I went to middle school. Then over here, we've got my husband's comic collection continued. As you can see, lots of Marvel, lots of Batman. And then we also have a few of his comics down here as well. So this is the very bottom shelf, which is our bigger, taller books that we have. So we have a lot of photo albums, keepsake albums, things like that. I've got some high school yearbooks, again, turned around because you guys don't need to know about that. I went to UNT. That's not a secret, so I'm not so worried about that. And then I've got some of my absolute favorite scrapbooks down here ever. I made these for my husband back when we were dating, so it's lots of, that's not us. I didn't replace that picture, but it's got lots of sickeningly adorable high school memorabilia. So, you know, some of my faves, or college, you know, lots of something corporate. Such a good band. And then this photo album, I do actually have a picture of us. So this was 2008 to 2010, lots of high school memories. I graduated in 2009, Stephen graduated in 2010, so, you know, messages, letters, random days, good stuff, but I won't bore you with all of that. All right, so that wraps up this shelf. I have one more shelf to show you guys, and that is my bookshelf, bookcase, whatever you want to call it, bookshelf? It's a shelf, but it's multiple shelves. I've got one more of those in the living room, so I'll go ahead and show you guys that now. Okay guys, this is the last bookshelf I have to show you. This is just one we have out in our living room. So let's go ahead and start with this shelf. We've got some Hunger Games over here. We've got a Stardock series, which if you haven't read that, it's entertaining. I don't know if I'd like highly recommend it, but I enjoy it. I've got some LGBT sci-fi, or is this one fantasy? I know I have a sci-fi on here as well that I got at Pride a couple years ago. Got a couple other books. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It's an allegory sci-fi, which is a weird combo. I've got a tin of coins. Who doesn't have that? We've got some hardback Animorphs, because my husband is a very big fan, and I also read all of them as a child. And then we've got an old jewelry box here that was my grandmother's that I thought worked well as decor. My cat loves to jump up on this and get behind all of these books and shove them all out. It's his favorite pastime. We've got the Great Persepolis, or the Complete Persepolis, which is great. Another hodgepodge collection of books. This is my LGBT sci-fi I was talking about earlier, which I have not read yet, but I've heard good things. And then I've got Practical Magic because I found it at a library sale and I loved the movie, so I thought I'd pick up the book. Got a little Gillian Flynn Dark Places hiding back there. I've only read Gone Girl by her, but now I want to read all of her books. And then moving down, we've got some of our bigger, taller books. We've got some more Matthew Riley. Got The Host, which I know Twilight is widely hated, which is okay, but The Host is decent. I enjoy it. The romance is questionable, but I like the book. Got some Michael Crichton, Sherlock Holmes. This is something I'm going to be reading for, I think, Thrillerathon coming up very soon. It's this collection of like horror stories that I got at my local bookstore. I've been holding on to this for a while, haven't gotten to it yet. Again, more Matthew Riley. Got this cool candle that I got at a Renaissance fair that's very dusty. Got the Complete Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. More Matthew Riley. I got these Fanny Flags at a library sale because I absolutely love fried green tomatoes, but I don't know if I'm going to like these. We'll see. We'll get to them eventually. We've got some Barry Eisler, which is one of my husband's favorite authors, as you can tell by the plethora of books we have. We've got some Interview with a Vampire, more comics here. We've got some Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes, and then a few other random things over here, random comics, more Far Side, and that completes this bookshelf. It's one of our smaller ones, or the smallest one that we have. Alright guys, so that wraps up the bookshelf tour. I know this was a little bit different format than other booktubers have done in the past, but let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you want some more details on any of the books or shelves that I have, I would love to share that. But yeah, those are all my bookshelves and all the books I have. I don't collect books like a lot of other booktubers do. I've mentioned that in a few videos, so I just don't own quite as many as most people do. I heavily rely on my library for audio and physical books, but yeah, so that's it. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video and want to see more like it. I do poll quite often on Twitter and Insta stories what kind of videos you guys want to see. So if you're interested in participating and choosing what you see on this channel, go ahead and follow on either of those. I'll have the links down in the description. But if you want to see more content from me, please subscribe. I would love to have you join my little Bookish Beauty family. And I think the next video you're seeing after this is non-book related, because I do try to balance book and non-book videos on this channel. So with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.